Well, thank you for joining me today on Good Vlog. I know this is a pretty short post, but I'm trying to set you up for future video releases that will be a little bit longer and a lot more entertaining. Until we get the full video cut for the Mount Shasta event, please enjoy just a few photos and a little bit of video as a teaser. I have to thank everyone who's been sending in these little boxes and bags of gifts for my family. The same thing goes for the gifts that I brought back from Mount Shasta. There were some awesome gifts, and I should have videotaped myself and my family and having fun opening them. I'm going to do that more in the future. I appreciate it, and I'm providing a address in case you want to send letters or whatever. That's a P.O. box. Please stay tuned. Please subscribe. It looks like probably only about 20 to 25% of people that come to the site actually subscribe. So please subscribe so you are updated whenever we have new information or new posts. I hope to have some more behind the scenes with David Wilcock very soon, and also a few other surprise guests that are going to pop up here and there that you should keep your eye out for. Anyway, for now, signing out. I will post some more video after I get back from Sedona. Thank you. Well, we just got within view of Mount Shasta. I'm in the car with Dr. Sala. We've been picked up for the long drive there. Can you say hi?
Hi, aloha.
Hello. Aloha. And thank you guys all for your help. All right.
Laurita.
Vaya con Dios.
Vaya con Dios. Hi.
See you up there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You guys have yourself. Love it.
I haven't had a treatment from a Mayan yet, but Eric is excellent. We had some ladies, both of their girlfriends didn't make it. They both did.
Dr. Sala, when, why, how did you redirect your career from a traditional path in academia to galactic diplomacy?
I'll blame Dr. Goode for that. That was his fault. You can see they kind of doubled as spacecraft carriers, and so they could travel to distant places. So this was what Maria Orsich and the Brew Society were more interested in, to travel to Andromeda to get information.
Some of the manufacturing plants on Mars house 250,000 people support them. So they have living quarters very nearby the manufacturing plants where these people live, and I can tell you that the conditions they live under are very Spartan, and they don't get to raise their hand and object to anything.
So my path into the labyrinth underworld was a part of what needed to happen and is connected to the Venus transits. We're all doing this. I'm just giving a voice to the stuff that we don't normally talk about. We all go into the underworld. We all have to, do this level of alchemy, but we don't talk about it enough. So.
Yeah, so it's been really an experience for me, and I've been really enjoying the whole program here at Mount Shasta.
Very
It's
cool.
Totally a fun place to be, and we've been here, what, 3 days? 2 days?
Yeah, I got here on Thursday. But
Being a blur now, we've
it
learned.
is a blur, yes. Yeah.
Yes, it's about 300,000 people.
Okay.
And it was stated that if the event were to happen at that moment, that's how many people would ascend.
Okay.
And it was sort of put forth as a cosmic wake-up call.
Sure.
Because you know how everyone always thinks that information applies to other people but not themselves.
Right.
And many of us we're really rolled up into our little UFO religions and our belief systems.
Mm-hmm.
And we think, that's all there is, and that's, I've made it.
Right.
But, they let me know in no uncertain terms that I was not in that number yet, that I have,
I see.
yeah,
Okay.
that I have room to go too. So it definitely was a wake-up call for me to try to make some more positive changes in myself and try to be more service to others.
Started. All right. As you probably all know by now, I'm Sue. And I thank you so much for coming to our expo and participating and enjoying it, spreading the word. And I really appreciate you coming to support Dr. Sam and Corey. Their work is so important, and it's bigger than we can even know right now. And I would really love for all of us to band together on a mission of peace and love to help planet Earth evolve and all of humanity evolve quickly. So without any further ado, I'm going to pass the mic over to our featured speakers, Dr. Sam, the discoverer of the Bosnian Pyramid Complex, and Corey Goode.
First question, yes.
This question's for Corey. Can you hear me? Yesterday you mentioned the importance of not only meditating but taking action, and you suggested instead of talking about aliens and star races that we instead perhaps share technologies and new healing modalities and stuff like that people might be more receptive to. And my question is there or could there be a repository for, say, articles, reports, videos, websites that have this information that we could then share with our family, friends, and network?
There's nothing like that available currently, but that is an excellent idea. It'd be nice to have a one-stop resource, but I want it to be a resource that's provided and put together by multiple people, and not just me, or not, it needs to be a collaborative effort. And because you know how it is right now in the community, there are so many people that are, like I said yesterday, that are stuck in their own little belief systems, and they formed little denominations, and they're behaving like the right-wing Christians that they like to make fun of, So we need to break out of that, and the best way to do that is for us all to work together and have information that's available to share, like you said, that doesn't lean towards any one denomination or belief system.
Thank you.
I've seen Santa Claus. I've wondered about genetic experiments at Fort Bragg in '73, so I was born there. And my Uncle Stan worked for GE, 6 months on, 1 month off. And how do you go about approaching someone? Because he always told me you just bite on people for 12 hours a day, which I totally believe. But maybe he knows more, and how do I approach him? Because I wouldn't want to put him at risk for a mysterious death.
So your question is how to approach? Yeah. Well, you have to tailor your approach to each individual. That individual is going to be more scientific minded, of course. So like I said, speaking with them, not in a combative way, sitting there saying, material sciences have evolved so much over the last 100 years, but we're still using the same combustion engines that we were in the late 1800s, or that technology. Can you explain the discrepancy in acceleration of those technologies? You can open a very innocuous conversation with them, and then you can begin to lead it into, electrogravitics and healing technologies and get their opinion on it. I wouldn't have them drink from a fire hose in the beginning, plant seeds, and then come back often and water. If we overwhelm people, we're going to do more harm than good because they're going to pull back and clam up.
Hey, Corey. Question on channeling and channelers. I'm just wondering if in your experience in the 20 and back on the glass pads, or in your experience outside of that, any information on Cryon and Bashar. Both of them are American-based channelers. Over 20 years, I've been following both their work extensively. Bashar is channeled by Darryl Anka. He lives in Los Angeles. And Lee Carroll is the channel for Cryon. Cryon basically would express itself as the angel that created the Earth's magnetic grid, and it has been here since the beginning of Earth's creation, kind of helping humanity along until here we are today, going through the ascension. Bashar's basically, if you listen to his work, he's about a 5-foot-tall great alien from the Sassani planet, 2,700 years in our future. That's here as well to help the ascension process. They both came in around the same time, the harmonic convergence around 1987. So they've been doing their part to, like you, kind of raise the vibration of the audiences and hopefully get the message of their version of disclosure or truth to the community. So they've got pretty big followings. They've both said, and I've been following almost 20 years each, so much of what you've said yourself the past couple of years that I've been following you, it's incredible. Just even where we are right now in the solar system and going through the waves of energy we're in. Cryon said that entire story many, many times over the past couple of years before I heard you say it. So I'm just wondering, how does the secret space program look at those entities that are also been here doing their role, and do you have any information to share on that?
How does the secret space program look at people like Bashar?
Yeah, do they try to stop them because they're telling truth or spreading information that's not in line with their information? Or,
I really don't know. I did not hear of. I don't know the other person, but Bashar I know of because immediately when I came out, I started to get a lot of questions about their information. The other person I'm not aware of.
Lee Carroll.
Yeah. I'm not aware of.
Okay.
But a lot of people are receiving information like they are through channeling and other means. And the only channeling that that was mentioned when I was in the secret space program or in the programs was the raw material. Mm-hmm. And they wanted the upper brass to read it and be familiar with it, but the rest of everyone else, they would tell us it's Luciferian. It's from the devil. And a lot of the military types that were participating in these programs came from very conservative Christian backgrounds, and the powers that be know when to wave that little Satanism or Luciferian flag to cause a visceral reaction in those types of people. And, we've seen it done recently with me and some of my people. They try to say we were devil worshippers and stuff to get people to clam up and, divert their attention. I would assume that they would do something similar to Bashar and the other person up in the programs, but they were not mentioned when I was there. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Just on that note, since you mentioned the Luciferian, the way they try to maybe trick you into thinking that's not good.
It worked with me. Yeah. It worked with me. I had stayed away from the raw material for a long time in forums and other places. If someone mentioned it, I had a reaction of, the people I trusted told me that it was Luciferian. So I stayed away. It wasn't until very recently that I took a look at the material and read it. The people in the programs that were above you, that were giving you all of this information. the programs, the secret space program.
But Corey, in that 20-year period, there has to be a lot of people like you that were good people, intrinsically good. How, at a certain amount of time, didn't they kind of figure out that what you're doing is not good, especially if you see slave races on the planet or you're harming innocent life?
I was on the research vessel for years before I found out that there was a slave trade going on. And it was only because of I had a personal relationship with this certain officer, and she had, because she worked on the communication system, she had quite a bit of access that I never got to go to certain parts of the ship. Well, she was able to do so, and she began to socially engineer the different men that were there, and because she had somehow gotten a little bit of information that something like that was going on, and I didn't believe it, and we were brought in. She got us into a secure area where she opened up some pods, and we saw bodies in it, and it wasn't just the slave trade, but there's genetics that are being harvested and traded off world as well. So the compartmentalization that goes on, you're not going to hear what you're not supposed to hear. It's just not going to happen. And almost all on completing their task within the certain amount of years that they were pulled in, and they really didn't care about anything else. That's what they were focused on. They were not given information about anything that was going on outside of their program. These people were also very dedicated, and they were positive people. They were told that what they were doing was going to preserve the human species and save the planet. So they fully had good intentions, the people I worked with.
So I have a question for you, too. Could you both concur that the pyramid structures on the planet are part of geomancy, which is, I believe, trying to raise the vibration back up, or assisting, or maybe it's helping filter or so? Thank you.
Is the Bosnian pyramid on ley lines? 3 ley lines? Very recently, about 2 years ago, I started talking about, on Cosmic Disclosure, the cosmic web and the electromagnetic filaments that connect. Everything in time and space is connected. Every galaxy is connected by these electromagnetic filaments. Every star within those galaxies and every planetoid or object within a star system is connected to the star through these electromagnetic filaments. Each planet has a grid system on it, and as the planet spins, the electromagnetic filaments, like electricity, electric universe, connects to different nodes on the planet as it's turning around. From the information I received, they were balancing these nodes and controlling these nodes to where they were able to open these, or predict the opening of these different portals. And it wasn't not just portals. They would use, when the portal wouldn't open, there was still an energy signature on that node area in these sacred places. And shamans would use these energies for different things, for healing, they would meditate within them and be able to reach other realms to pull down information. So I'm sure that there's a lot more to these grid systems than what I'm aware of, but what I was told was that it had to do with the cosmic web and balancing and completing circuits within the grid.
Geomancy is just a part of the answer for the pyramids. What we have measured in the case of Bosnian pyramids, location is extremely important. Below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is a huge iron plate, as I explained yesterday. Iron generates electromagnetic fields. The pyramid, the most powerful geometrical shape when it comes to the energies, it amplifies this electromagnetism. The second form of the energy, underground water streams, about 65 feet below the pyramid, underground water. Water flows, releases negative ions. The pyramid amplifies. The third one, 70 feet below the pyramid, is the second underground water stream. Between the two parallel water streams, electricity is generated. The pyramid amplifies. Number 4, natural magnetism. Number 5, ultrasound. How do we get ultrasound? Electromagnetic field hits the quartz crystal, and then we have so-called piezoelectrical effect, which generates mechanical waves, which is a sound or infrasound or ultrasound. In our case, 28 kilohertz ultrasound. The pyramid amplifies this ultrasound. The next one, orgone energy or life or chi energy. In this conference hall, about 40%, outside 50%, villages 70%, pyramids 100% of the orgone energy. So the pyramids are actually huge energy amplifiers or energy machines. At least the oldest, the biggest, the most superior on the planet. In China, in Mexico, in Bosnia, in Egypt.
I'd like to ask a question real quick, or a couple. You mentioned an iron plate. Has that been analyzed by metallurgists?
When we got the frequency of 28 kilohertz at the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we sent results to 3 different labs in Croatia, Serbia, and Austria. And they said, you had to have iron plate, or it can be iron ore, or it can be even spaceship. At the depth of 2,240 meters or 1.3 miles. Because of the depth, of course, we did not get there. But we do have the source of the electromagnetic fields.
Okay. Now, from what you stated, I'm assuming that there's a high crystalline content in the rock. Have people witnessed or reported any type of plasma orbs in the area? Well, I asked for a reason, and he touched on it. That it occurs in a lot of places, and what? Oh, he did. Okay. Well, no. Listen, he touched on something that I found very interesting. A lot of these mountains act like giant capacitors, and as he stated, there are almost always water streams going by, and the friction of the water going across the crystalline causes a piezoelectric effect. That energy builds up in these mountains until it has to release. And what occurs is it releases these plasma orbs.
What I was showing them, but not everyone was here. Let me just... Okay, Corey. This is me with Eric von Däniken. We are in the underground tunnels under the Bosnian pyramids, and his assistant is filming us. While he's filming us, we can see all those thousands of orbs flying around us of different sizes, at different speeds, going zigzag, having fun.
What if they said the orbs are?
The orbs, well, according to our research, they are simply spherical energy entities with intelligence. And, okay, I'll show him the river of orbs. Now, here's the floor, the cable, and you will see millions of orbs flowing. Literally, river of orbs. There you go. Thank you.
What's the acidity of the soil like?
It's a clay. Clay is natural flooring here in the tunnels. However, the walls are conglomerate with a lot of quartz crystal. So now almost none, and the next moment you will see millions of them. Look. No, you can't see them. Majority of people cannot. I did have a few psychics who claimed to see them. You can even invite them. Yes, sir.
What if you learned how to harness those orbs and program them?
We don't harness them. They are simply different entities, like us. They simply vibrate differently than us. We don't need to harness them.
I'm asking you because we learned how to do it.
Good. You need to let us know. We simply respect their existence. Yeah. Interesting, huh?
My question is about mind control. I'd like a quick definition of the techniques that are used for mind control and how we are able to break through that web. And maybe how we can help others.
They use, of course, energetic mind control to pacify people, and stuff like fluorides and stuff like that in our water. But the most effective mind control is the mind control we do on each other. They'll give us, social norms. That's a type of mind control. Different religious systems that are perverted and used as control systems. Most of the mind control and control grid that's going on is self-imposed. They've tricked us into doing on ourselves. There's definitely an energetic, they've exploited these energetic grids that we have to cause them to put out fields that cause people to be more docile. And then we have the more direct effects of like the voice of God technology I've described on cosmic disclosure and other technologies that interfere with the extremely low frequencies that the brain emanates, the magnetic fields of the brain. They've learned how to manipulate and read the data coming through out of the magnetic field. They learned how to do that a long time ago. And not only can they read what's coming out, they're very adept at putting the information in pretty much the same manner.
How can we help others break when just by being a loving being?
Being loving, meditating, and all that's really good. But it's going to take action. The only way you can really wake some of these people up is to shake them. There's also this component of this artificial intelligence, very ancient artificial intelligence that many different galaxies are dealing with. This artificial intelligence, it's a signal that's being broadcast, and it affects our consciousness in a very heavy way. The solar flash that I'm told that is going to occur, and like I said, with the scientists in the program, some of them believe it's going to be a 360-degree full circumference mass coronal ejection. Some of them think it's just going to be some electromagnetic pulses that come from the sun. So there's no agreement on what's going to occur, but there is agreement that whatever does occur in this solar event is going to take out all of our electrical grid, all of our technology, which they then state is going to be the perfect time to bring in these newer technologies. And when this occurs, it will also it'll clear out the AI. The thought of a solar flare, mass coronal ejection is very scary, but if it doesn't wipe us out, it's going to end up being very beneficial. It could be because I was told that they didn't say 3 days. They said that the entire circumference of the sun was going to be a mass coronal ejection, is what a lot of these scientists believe, and that the sun for a number of days will become like a giant sunspot, will be very dim, a number of days. That's David likes to make things, match certain things, but I was told a number of days. It takes 8 minutes for the light to go from the sun to Earth for us to reach it. If something like that occurred on the sun, we're not going to know for 8 minutes.
Hi, Corey. Have you heard anything that they're going to do a test on the grids next month, like shut down part of it at different areas?
Of the electrical grid?
Yes.
No, I haven't heard anything about that.
My question's for Dr. Sam. I'm curious, has your team or any other team discovered any gravitational anomalies? Like, I understand that you said the resonance frequency was like the levitation frequency. I was just curious to know, or like see if you've found any stones floating, or was that resonance just used to like maybe make the stones levitate into place and it's stuck with that frequency? Thanks.
We do measure 28 kilohertz ultrasound in the tunnels and on the top of the pyramids, Sun and the Moon and Dragon, Love, Earth, Tumulus, which are the part of the complex. 28 kilohertz frequencies, what I explained yesterday during my lecture. Who was at my lecture yesterday anyway? Oh, there were 10 people. So, when you do experiments with the ultrasounds, 21 kilohertz, 22, 23, when you come to 28, then you can see that very light objects like ping pong balls, they can start levitating. This is the frequency we measured in the tunnels. You walk through the tunnels, you feel light. But on the other hand, your first question, gravitational force, I don't think it has anything to do with the ultrasound frequency. We did measure, gravitational force. It's regular, like outside. However, the ceilings in the tunnels are conglomerate. So it's just sand, pebbles, rocks. No binding material. So when you look at it, it shouldn't be there. It should come down to the floor. But it's standing there. And I had one of our friends, she feels the energies. She can see the energies. She told me that at the original time when they built those tunnels, they used some type of plasma to keep the ceiling up. Of course, for me, it's very hard to explain to mainstream archaeologists. Hey, we have some plasmas there, by the way. They make sure that the ceilings do not come down. But just in case, we do place wooden support in every tunnel that we open.
Hi, Corey. I'm so happy you could make it into the East Coast here, and I hope to see you in the Washington, D.C. area sometime soon, where I live. But anyhow, my question is, I have 50 questions, but my most urgent question, my most curious question is, I had read or even maybe heard on one of your programs how the Alliance was thinking of taking out these platforms or maybe space stations that were orbiting the Earth, that were using, I don't know what source or what energy it was to control us. There were like 3 of them that he was talking about. I think this came from David Wilcock. And they're thinking of taking these out. And if they did that, it would have the effect that we would have like an acid trip on our consciousness. And it got me thinking about...
It'd be more like coming off of Vicodin cold turkey.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it would not be a pleasant experience.
Yeah, exactly. And I was also thinking about how the orbs that have been dampening all of these energy fields are basically dissolving away or going away, having less effect on the dampening. What can we expect from all of these cosmic energies that essentially we're going to be unprotected from them very soon, if not already? What are your thoughts? What is the information that you have on this right now in terms of the effects on us? How is these new energy waves that are coming in?
Okay. Well, I don't know if I explained this yesterday. As our solar system is passing through, we use the esoteric, a high vibratory, area of the galaxy, but it's basically a gas cloud, an energetic gas cloud. Mm-hmm. And as we pass through it, it's spinning, and we're like a dynamo going through this high energetic cloud. The energy feeds in through the north and south pole of the electromagnetic field of the sun. It then comes out from the sun. And the same thing happens to Earth. As these energies are coming, leaving the sun, they are interacting with the Earth's magnetic field and causing an electric reaction to where it goes into the north and south poles. And a lot of these energies are emanating out through these grids, and just like mountains,
right.
Like we discussed before, that we're able to carry the electric charge.
Well, would you say that we're kind of experiencing the early effects now of kind of like an end-time madness?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's affecting the consciousness of everyone and everything on the planet. But getting to this grid system, this is what they called an Orion grid system. It was put out there eons ago, and it causes a field to go around the Earth. That they're not all space-based. Some of them they utilize the grid, the ley lines, the grid. What the parts of the alliance have discussed is that they want to shut off this grid. One of the reasons that we're having end-time madness is because of this energetic increase. But not only do you have this energetic increase coming from the sun, but the beings that control this mind control grid have had to turn it all the way up to max for it to have the same effect. And we're being hit by all these different scalar waves, electromagnetic waves, and parts of the electromagnetic spectrum that we don't even really know how to measure. That is affecting the consciousness of everyone on the planet. I mean, we're seeing it right now, the end-time madness. You see, people that are positive, that are starting to kind of bliss out, people that are very negatively oriented, that are becoming more so, and they can't hide it anymore. They can't hide the negativity. And then the people who have mental illnesses are having a lot of difficulty. They are and it's going to get worse. So I hope that answers your question.
I have a question for Dr. Sam. When I was watching your video for the first time, I did notice what you pointed out yesterday, that the pyramids, the corners of the two sides look like they go down much farther than what the base is you're measuring. When you look at where the tunnels are that are going through the pyramids, are they down in that lower section, or are they just in the top area?
Officially, we use number of 220 meters, about 720 feet as the height of the biggest one, the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. But the tunnel entrance, when we look at the topographic map, is about 280 meters, or about 900 plus feet. So, officially, we would come below the pyramid. However, on some of the maps, we can see that actually the height of the pyramid is much more, about 1,200 feet, which would mean that we will get actually inside the pyramid using the tunnels. And so far, they're all level. But we work only on the first level of tunnels. Just last year, we discovered the second level of tunnels, about 40 feet below the first one. And it seems that there are between 3 and 7 level of tunnels under the ground. So after 12 years, we are still really scratching the surface.
And also that beam of energy that comes off the top of the pyramid, have you studied that at all? Like, do people have healing if they sit there? Is it good to sit on the top of the pyramid? Like, how does that frequency affect the body?
Okay, let me answer that question. And from that, my answer, I would like to ask Corey a question. So let me show you just a few slides. Let me get everyone else involved in this. So it will be easier to follow the whole thing. So this is the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. So from here up 220 meters, 722 feet. When we started the excavation, 3-4 feet below the soil, we are finding rectangular blocks, which we have analyzed at 7 institutes for materials. It's artificially made concrete. Some people call it geopolymer concrete, some people call it synthetic concrete. Much better quality than ours. So, if we, on this photo, remove this green color, change it to brownish, this is what you are getting. This is probably the original look of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. Now, on this illustration, here is the Sun Pyramid, 220 meters. Now here we removed the greenery, and you see how this side goes all the way down to the bottom of the valley. So now we are talking about 1,200 feet. So if we go back in time, the probable look of the whole valley of the pyramids. So the sun, the moon, dragon, love, temple of Mother Earth. 5 structures. But the reason we came here, when we started finding the purpose of pyramids, we are using different scientific disciplines. On the PIP camera developed by Dr. Oldfield, to the right we can see the town of Wilcock in central Bosnia, and bioenergy fields, they are all horizontal. That's the natural ambiental fields. But the moment you get to the Sun Pyramid, to the left, and to the Love Pyramid, we can see vertical fields. Meaning, you have energy machines, energy is generated inside the pyramid, energy is getting released through the top, hitting those horizontal fields, they become vertical. Or, in more concrete terms, now we can see it 3D. Now, the Sun Pyramid, the town of Wilcock, and look at the inside, the red color. The energy, it's getting accumulated. So we'll be seeing more and more of the red. You see, red, red. Everything is red now. Energy is getting accumulated, going through the top, hitting those horizontal fields, they become vertical. But now why I'm doing this, I want to show something else. Let's look at it.
What is the blue energy?
Well, these are different frequencies. Look at this. This thermal signature, which is different than the others. You see how the shape is oval? The moment when we are getting the most of the red, it will be next moment, this oval-shaped vehicle is coming inside the pyramid. And then, a few moments later, you see, it's leaving.
Like an orb. Like an orb.
Yes, it looks like the spaceship because of its size. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see that. Here it is. This is a part of the question. And then last year, what we did, we sent a drone with different scientific instruments above the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, checking on electromagnetism, and then separately on electrical field, on magnetic field, on temperature, on orgone energy, ultrasound, infrasound, 7 different measurements we've done. The most interesting stuff were in electrical field, electrical, no magnetism. Magnetic aspect is not there. It looks like this. This is 0 meters. This is the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. We have this energy beam, electrical in nature, of 13 feet. And then it starts to expand. At the height of 21 meters, or about 70 feet, it is the widest and strongest. And then it's getting narrow. And then it expands, getting narrow, expands, getting narrow. So these are the scalar waves, which you just mentioned, the scalar waves. Their properties is they are much quicker than the speed of light. And then we were checking, where is this, the scalar waves, where are they oriented to? And here's the orientation. You see the sides, east, west, north, and south. In the afternoon, the orientation was mostly to the southwest. At the noontime, south. Now let's see how our sun moves. In the morning, east. Noontime, south. Afternoon, southwest. Evening, west. Right? Sunrise. So, the scalar waves, noontime, south. In the afternoon, southwest. Meaning the scalar waves follow the path of the sun. And those who were here yesterday, they could hear that we also measure the ultrasound in this very energy beam, which is basically the information. So the scalar waves are oriented to the sun, so there is a probably communication between the two. And then using the sun as the cosmic gate, going through other solar systems. So for the first time, it's been measured and scientifically proved that there is a connection between sun and the moon. So we do have scalar waves on the top of the sun pyramid. So now my question for you, we could see that oval-shaped vehicle coming to the pyramid, which is obviously energy machines, using it as the gas station. That's one thing. And then also the scalar waves produced by the pyramids. Any comments there?
Yes. Basically what I was shown is that the ley lines or the natural grid system, they were manipulated and used in ancient times by off-world groups to create, to change those ley lines into basically like a circuit board. That these different ancient structures, such as pyramids, were then shooting energy out straight up. And most of the time, it is just energy. It's like shining a flashlight into nowhere. But as the Earth spins and different star systems rotate into the path, they are activated. And it is sending this faster than light energy through these electromagnetic filaments between the stars. It's utilizing the cosmic web. This can be used for bidirectional information sending, like a Wi-Fi system.
That's the conclusion we are getting. But then, in our case, the good thing is that this is the only important archaeological site where we are totally open. All others, Egypt, Mexico, Peru, Egyptologists do not let physicists, engineers to do the measurement because they stick to the story, tombs for the pharaohs. And I know there's a lot of questions, but if you don't mind, when we're talking about this energy beam, we also detected the ultrasound inside this beam. So what we did, we converted the ultrasound to something that we can hear. So I'd like to run this audio file. I think it's very interesting, and maybe somebody can decipher what it means. Here it is. So, we were on the top of, there was a question actually about the top of the pyramid where we detected the energy beam. When you go there, 5 minutes is fine. After 5-10 minutes, you become a little bit dizzy. And then, dowsers came, they measured on the Bowie scale. Bowie scale, humans are from 6,000-7,000 bovies to 20,000-25,000 bovies. Everything up to 25,000-30,000 bovies, very pleasant. Over there, 50,000 bovies. So it's just too much. So within this energy beam, 13 feet, we measured the ultrasound. Now we noticed when we were measuring the electrical field that it's getting stronger as it moves away from the pyramid. It's getting stronger, which is a kind of anomaly because you would expect if the source of the energy is inside the pyramid or below the pyramid, that the signal is getting weaker and weaker. But here, it's getting stronger and stronger. So theoretically, this energy beam can go through our solar system, can go. And with this ultrasound, obviously, we have a form of the communication. Ultrasound is the information. So the pyramid becomes a very powerful communication device. And we are the first one who are proving that. I believe it's the same thing with the Egyptian pyramids, but they simply do not allow people to research that.
One of the reasons they removed the capstones a long time ago is to remove that communication. Now, my question is, that sound, is it constant or does it spike? I mean, what I'm wondering is, as if during the time, if the signal changes, have you star charted to see if stars are in alignment, if that's affecting the field? Because that does sound a little bit like some of the NASA sounds of the stars and sounds of, you know.
And 28. And so we have the same distances. We have blocks of ultrasound coming in blocks. And then we measure the nearby hills. We don't have the same peaks. We don't have the same distances. We even measure one pyramid hill in Italy, Monte Pavione, 4 triangular faces. But again, no same peaks, no same distances. Just the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. Because it is an energy machine. You have those blocks. Yes, yes.
Like a sine wave. Are these peaks consistent, or do they change? Is it very consistent? Okay. One of my next questions doesn't apply now. I was going to ask if you took and did an analysis or a chart of these sine wave peaks and convert it from analog into digital, to see if there's any type of information that can be gleaned from it. Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it's a giant wireless network communicating. One of the reasons I was also asking about the peaks and valleys of the sine waves in the measurements is that, you know, I was wondering if star alignments were having any effect as we rotate, and the point of the pyramid is in alignment with a star, if you're able to, you know, trace that and see if there's any changes.
Well, when it comes to alignments, our first question is how many pyramids we have. In Egypt, we are talking about 3, Teotihuacan, 3 main pyramids, Valencia in Spain, 3 main pyramids, Montevecchia in Italy, 3 main pyramids, and they have exactly the same layout. In Bosnia, right now we have done excavations on 5 pyramidal structures. Most probably we have 7 because there are 2 pyramid hills, but completely private land, we cannot do an excavation. So if it is 7, then we can be talking about the Pleiades. But then the question is how many originally, because what we have as radiocarbon dating is 29,200 years. So we go back for 30,000 years, at least 2 huge flood waves that would destroy smaller structures. If it was 9, then we can talk about 7 sister Pleiades and the father and the mother. But as we know, the star cluster of Pleiades have 104 stars. So I don't think this is like the major the thing as far as the pyramids, because for me it's even more important the layout of 3 main pyramids, Sun, Moon and Dragon. They form perfect equilateral triangle. It is very obvious. Egyptians, you know, they have this triangle, but it's not regular. It's not. But here we have equilateral triangle.
Have you looked at 25,000 years ago, the star charts from that time era, and compared it?
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Sorry, I've been waiting a while. I forgot my question.
I was wondering if your arm was getting tired.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm not that strong. I want to take you back to a time when you discussed something that happened with Kyrie, when she did something on you and you were able to release some kind of a negative influences that were coming out of your body. You said it was kind of quite startling. Yeah, and I have concerns about those personally, and I want to know, how do you go about doing a self-cleaning in terms of something like that?
Well, it's not a one-time cleaning. Everyone has them, and you can clear them, and usually they come back.
But how do you clear them?
Way.
I mean,
and in this case, she used this crystal, that, you know, she rubbed, and then it started making this tone, kind of like when you do the outside of a glass to make that high-pitched noise. And that somehow drove them out. Now, if and they connect to your energetic, to your chakras, to your energetic centers. If you have a behavior or something that's going on that's keeping that, I guess, kind of portal open to allow them to come back, they're going to continue to return. Identifying what type of entities they are is important, and figuring out how to change your behavior or your environment to prevent them from coming back is just as important as removing them.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, keeping yourself in a certain vibration makes it very difficult for them to stay attached, but you know, that's very difficult because when they're attached to you, they're keeping your vibration low. And so, I mean, you have to overcome and then keep your vibration high through diet, through different practices like meditating.
Do you do anything to practice that? I mean, do you practice meditation?
Yes, I meditate. I presume that everyone here meditates whether they think they are or not. Anytime you're sitting back in deep thought and daydreaming, you're in a meditative state.
Okay.
So we try to make things a little too magical with meditation sometimes. You know, it's something that the body naturally does. Everyone meditates. You know, they go into, you know, these different states. You go into deep theta when you sleep. You know, when you're dreaming. But yeah, I mean, meditation's important, but you know, we don't need to make it a completely magical kind of thing. It's something that our bodies naturally do as we're going in and out of different states of awareness as we're waking up and going to sleep throughout the day. A lot of times you'll feel yourself pull back and you start to daydream, and you're going into a meditative state. But having a more focused meditative state, focused with intent, you know, is important. You know, with the intent of not just going into the meditative state, because we all do it, but to then be able to. It's kind of like lucid dreaming. You know, everyone dreams, but every once in a while someone will have a lucid dream. But once you learn how to recognize a lucid dream and how to control it, then you start to have a different experience. And it's the same with meditating and getting into those different states of consciousness. From my experience, anyway.
Yeah, I have a question about on your latest video I was just listening to before I came here about the Anshar. You had mentioned they were trying to move into a temporal anomaly to escape the cosmic energies. I wonder if there's anything you can share on that more about.
Yes, what they've told me is that every cycle, which is 20-something thousand years, they sequester themselves inside one of these temporal anomalies. During these cycles, the energetics change quite a bit. They're fourth density beings, and it's basically consciousness is what we're talking about. Ascension it first happens through an expansion of consciousness, and then everything in the physical realm kind of follows. You know, as I stated yesterday, we're not all of a sudden going to have telekinesis and be flying around the planet when these energies occur. It's going to take a long time for us to kind of acclimate to them and learn how to utilize them. So
does that affect them in some other way that's different than us?
Yes, we are susceptible to these fields. So let's say a field that is our consciousness is on a certain vibratory level right now, a frequency. Theirs is at a much different frequency, and they're affected by these high frequencies coming in a different way than we are. It's not necessarily going to give them a bump up in an ascension as it is us, because we're lower down on the frequency level. They're above the frequency level of the energies coming in. You know, because they are basically they claim to be us from the far future after we've already made this consciousness ascension, this fourth density shift.
Hi. Hi, Corey. Actually, my question is a little bit close to what he said, too. When we heard about the meditation during total eclipse and how successful it was, and now we were told it's only a small amount of light workers going to maintain and steward that. So we hopefully we will have an optimal timeline. So my question is about how do we coordinate that? Seems like we scatter around different regions, and we probably when we get together on this kind of event, is there a plan to help us to coordinate the effort? Because look at this is how important, very small amount, very committed light workers to do this thing, and we know it's very hard to. Every single one of us go to different personal, family, all the obstacles. This is not the easiest thing to do at all.
Right. Yeah, it's any time anyone tries to form some sort of cohesion for people to work together in that way, something magically pops up that divides people. And these are basically operations that are done by these different intelligence groups. They do not want us coming together and mass meditating. This is an uphill battle for us to be able to organize. I stated yesterday, our co-creative consciousness, we have the ability, not only do we have the ability, we're co-creating this experience right now. Everything is a vibratory illusion. We're given it cohesion by some sort of an agreement between us. We're agreeing that we're going to co-create, this environment. That's a lot of power, and that's also the power of these cabal groups. We hear about the black magic they use against us. Well, the black magic that they use against us is our own co-creative consciousness abilities. We manifest things. They plant seeds in us, and then they give us a catalyst, usually a heavy emotion of fear. And that catalyst will cause us to manifest what they want us to. Instead, of us being tricked to manifest a prison planet, once we learn our co-creative abilities, we're going to be able to manifest whatever future we want. That's what they have to keep us from discovering. And that's one of the main reasons why it's been so hard to bring all of these people together to, form a group that's going to do mass meditations that are focused on one intent. That's really what needs to happen. All of us that come together and we're all meditating on slightly different things, if we can find one intent to come together on, we're going to be able to manifest it on a small level, but it's going to throw the balance off of this black magic reality they've created. Yeah, just meditating alone is going to, because, the 100th monkey effect, we've got there's a super consciousness that, we all tap into, the Akashic and, and then, different levels. So if they can prevent us from tapping into that information or just getting a bunch of people, even if they have different intent, if you get like a fraction of 1% of the population all meditating, even if it's on different intents at the same time, it's going to affect the mass consciousness. And that they do not want that happening because they are affecting the mass consciousness in a way that allows them to control.
Excuse me, sir.
Sure.
I've been visiting very interesting communities on the planet that were trying to combine spirituality with the physical aspect. For example, in Italy, close to Turin, there is a place called Damanhur. Probably some of you heard about Damanhur. They've been there for almost 4 decades. Meditation is part of their daily life, several times a day. Very spiritual community. Then Auroville in India, southeastern India, on the Indian Ocean.
Saw that they had a big mess to clean up amongst the people that served them. That it just became kind of a non-issue, I guess.
Okay, that's enough of my stuff. I wanted to get to. I'll save this for another time. And actually, I'm tempted because we didn't take calls tonight. That maybe in a couple of weeks we'll bring you back and only take phone calls, and we'll do that for like 3 hours so we can treat everybody. But we'll save that for another time. I've got literally 100 questions here that have come in during the show. So I'm going to bang these out, and let's get to these as quick as possible. If we have to do a little overtime, we will, and I'm going to thank you for that in advance. So let's start here. Does Corey know anything about the alien U.S. battles at Greenland in the 1950s?
The E.T. battles in Greenland in the 1950s.
Yes, between the aliens and the United States.
No, I don't have anything specific about a battle going on between the U.S. and non-terrestrials.
Okay,
during that time period. No.
Fair enough. Comment on the plan now is to introduce humanity to an angelic and human-like ET group. Do you know anything about this?
Yes. The intelligence up until about the late 90s was that they were going to use this blue beam technology to fake an alien invasion. And that indeed was actually a plan at one time. They were going to put up, holograms and then put up secret spacecraft, actual craft, up to cause a ruse. Well, that was exposed to a degree to where it was no longer a viable operation. But they had used this technology in smaller theaters of war, such as Iraq and others, to where they had convinced people that their deities or religious figures were up in the clouds communicating with them that they should surrender or whatever. And it was very effective in the smaller theaters. The plan that was developed well after the late 1990s was that they were going to introduce to us one of these human-looking non-terrestrials that has been interacting with the government for some time, that this non-terrestrial group would be introduced to humanity, and this non-terrestrial group would introduce us to their belief system, which is kind of going to be a cosmic, esoteric world religion that humanity would flock to. And we're going to be convinced that all the ETs out there are positive, and so we have nothing to fear from them, so that we are willing to give our sovereignty away and also to worship them and their belief system, which is what we've been socially and genetically programmed to do from the beginning.
Does Corey know the limits of the SSP time travel capabilities?
No, I do not. It turns out that from this 20 and back program that they've been doing, they were traveling in time and getting different individuals and putting them in the 20 and back and then shipping them back in time to earlier time periods than we would think possible.
Okay, here we go. We need a deep Earth update. Any new information on that front? Anshar, etc.
Other than a few short meetings with them, no, there's not a whole lot of new information from the inner Earth. But I hope to give a lot more information about the encounters I had through this video graphic novel that I'm producing with a lot of people right now.
Okay, very cool. On a scale of 1 to 10, how urgent and important does Corey think it is to stock up on food, water, and prep?
I think that it's a very good idea to have that as soon as possible, if you are financially able to do that, of course. There are a lot of different Earth changes, a lot of different things that are going to occur, some civil unrest here and there, a lot of it manipulated. Some of it has to do with the energetic changes we're going through. And when it comes to having those types of supplies, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Has Corey ever encountered information about the Second Coming, and how might it relate to Ascension?
I have not received information through the space programs about that. You know, a lot of this stuff also, you know, I have to postulate like everyone else. So I wish I had all the answers.
Have you ever heard of course you have, the Hillenkotter or the LeMay? Yes, you have, right? That is all through, and you've seen the illustrations.
Yes, I've seen the illustrations.
This isn't a quite. You know what? I'm going to keep my questions out of it. I've made a deal. I'm just going to read through these. I wanted to keep going on the Hill and Cotter. Ask Corey for Earth's Cosmic Neighbors group if MICCA's people, I think that's Mika's, are a third and fourth density. I know you've talked about this before, but this is a good thing to address right now. Are they third? Like, is there going to be a fourth?
They are fourth density, and basically they're still in transition. They're fourth density, just like we're third, fourth transitional density right now.
Right. This is from Ronnie McMullen, one of our sponsors here on the show, and he was on earlier before you. I don't know if you listened to Ronnie, but he had a question for you. He wants to know, will there be a major ET event, not a sighting, but an event in the next 24 months?
I do not know. I know that the powers that be are trying to do a fast track on unrolling this partial disclosure for us, to where they're going to let us know about the secret space program that I told you about with the 2 space stations. And the part of the narrative is that they're going to introduce us to a very human-looking non-terrestrial group, but at what time stamp in this plan they're going to do that, I have no idea.
Have you been in contact or worked with recently with other claimed members of the SSP, like Tony Rodriguez of the Dark Fleet and Randy Kramer?
No, I've not worked with either of those 2 individuals.
This is from Matt in San Francisco. Could Corey comment on the latest WikiLeaks scandal involving emails? This is about Pizzagate. I'm going to skip that. No Pizzagate on the show. I'm reading everything. Just so everybody knows, I'm not censoring anything unless it says Pizzagate. Are the blue avions that visit, are the blue spheres that visit the blue avions? Are they the same, one and the same? The blue spheres that visit, are they the blue avions?
Oh, are they the blue avians and the spheres the same thing?
Yes.
Oh, no, they're not. The blue avians are a 6th density group, and these blue spheres are actually what they say are 9th density beings, and they are all working together.
Now, which I almost have to drop in here. Raw tier air, right? When we he contacted you in a sphere. So is he the sphere? And when he grabbed you, were you riding with him when you guys left your living room?
The sphere is a different being, and we appear inside of it to have communications as if it was a spacecraft, I guess you would say, or a dwelling.
Right. And it's so hard to wrap your head around that, and that's why it needs to be explained.
Yeah, when I arrive in one of these giant blue spheres, there's this type of crystalline floor that appears, and then I'm walking basically on a floor that is not attached to anything, floating in the middle of the sphere, walking around on this crystalline type floor.
Right.
And I have meetings with other beings and people that have been brought there as well, including the blue avians.
And when I see the name, Raw Tier Air, I immediately think of Egypt and I think of Ra.
Right.
Are we, have you asked him? I don't want to be cavalier, man, but have you thought about asking him, is he one and the same?
Yes. They were very heavily involved with several of our civilizations in the past. And they came down to deliver messages. And each time they delivered a message, we took it, turned it into a religion, distorted it. And but yes, they've made contact with us, including the Sumerian and Egyptians.
So is there a connection, Ra and Ra? Or,
there appears to be, yes.
Yeah. Okay. moving on. This is from John. Was the Star Wars program in the 1980s partial disclosure of the SSP?
It was more of a partial disclosure of a cosmic awareness and I guess, cosmic mindset, and how things sort of have occurred over thousands of years. So in a way, yes, it wasn't, other than the fact that their big wedge-shaped battle group, or their big carrier ships, looked a lot like the Dark Fleet's. Most of the disclosure was just, letting us in on their belief systems and what is kind of going on out there in the cosmos.
With your comment about the beehive earlier in the show, this question came in, and is there a connection with Middle Earth and your beehive comment?
Oh, you mean honeycomb?
Yeah, honeycomb beehive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the honeycomb Earth, the Earth is a lot more porous than what we've been told. And yes, these groups, various groups over millennia, have retreated into this porous part of the Earth where they're shielded from all the catastrophes and changes that occur on Earth, but also they are shielded from the sun and cosmic rays.
Is there anything positive you can say about ET? What is your plan for the future with disclosure, and what would that aftermath be like?
Yes, there's a lot to say positive about non-terrestrials. For the most part, most of them are good. Most of them would love to interact with us and assist us through a lot of our challenges that we have ahead of us. And for future of disclosure, I hope to be amongst everyone else pushing for a full disclosure narrative while they are unrolling this partial disclosure as we speak. They're already starting to show a lot of their SSP craft in the skies. And mainly what you're going to see, like during the day, are these big white orbs that are just giant coronas that are surrounding the craft.
Is the Mayan breakaway group here to assist humanity? And if so, how? Are they in contact with us now?
They are not per se in contact with us now. Their stance is that once we take care of all these problems ourselves, they're ready and willing to come in and help us with the healing aspect, which is, it turned out they help a lot of people with emotional healing.
I have a pile of questions left. Can you hang on for another 10 minutes after the break?
Yeah, 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes. Thank you so much, Corey. What a conversation tonight. Our guest is Corey Goode. This is Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can follow Corey at Blue Avions. I promise I get all of your questions in, and I will do just that. Stay right there. Our guest tonight is Corey Goode. We'll be right back.
And you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter. But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty
musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-618-WAVE, 888-618-WAVE, or visit mydryhome.com. mydryhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Kristen, Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back to Fade to Black. Great conversation tonight. Great show with Corey Goode. He has graciously agreed to hang on for a little overtime. So everybody, go thank Corey right now at Blue Avions in Twitter and let him know what a great show this has been. Now, Corey, I'm going to get through the rest of these really quick, and then I want you to have a nice parting statement for us about what's going on out there. So really quick, and I'm reading these as they are coming in. Please ask Corey, don't laugh, Corey, if the Earth is flat.
Mm-hmm. The Earth is absolutely not flat. When I've been out there, all I've seen is spherical geometry. I have not seen any of these domes that are being talked about. It's. That was a thought experiment that was put out a while back, and it's taken on a life of its own.
It just won't go away. It's so funny.
Yeah.
So the first time that you heard that, did you laugh out loud? And it's okay to say if you did, because I did.
Yeah, I laughed out loud, but also kind of wrinkled up my forehead because of the intellectual caliber of some of the people that are espousing it. So, what can you do?
Yeah, totally. Okay, what does Corey know about Alcyon? Are there any ETs there, and are they compatible with Draco?
I don't have that specific of information on any one star system about who is inhabiting it and what the relationship is with the Draco.
Okay, this is a little direct. Is there... let me try to shorten this up. Is there any racism that goes on in the Federation?
Well, it depends. It's all perspective. What we see as racism, they see as keeping their genetic experiments pure and separate from one another. They come in and develop a lot of spiritual or social type of control mechanisms to where, you're not allowed to date outside of your race. You're not allowed to do this or that outside of your race. Or even you hear the biblical tales of, people are told to go in and kill every other person of that race and don't take any as a wife. that these are all, these all helped spring the root of.
Does Corey have any intel on reports about fires occurring at Cabal bases in the eastern part of the United States?
There are a number of bases that have been under attack all over the world. There was one, I was told, recently in Nigeria, deep under Nigeria, that was destroyed. I have not heard of any that have open flames coming from them. I have not been briefed that that is occurring.
Do aliens and ET keep black agendas from one another?
Absolutely. A lot of these groups work loosely together, but they have their own agendas, their own intelligence, and they do not share it with each other.
The question of Trump constantly comes up on so many different fronts. So I'm going to ask each one of these individually. Does Trump know about ET contact? Do you think he's been exposed at this point?
I think he knows it exists. I don't think he's had firsthand exposure yet, but he most likely will.
Do you think he's part of the cabal? And if he is not, would he do anything to prosecute the cabal?
He is not. Absolutely not. He has been backed by this Earth Alliance, and the military factions within the U.S. government that's been fighting the cabal. So he is a very interesting individual, not someone that I guess is huggy, kissy kind of thing that we would like, but he is by nature uncontrollable by the powers that be, and the alliance can't really control him either.
When you met with the tall royal white Draco, was there anybody else there that you recognized? Any politicians?
This when Gonzalez had a meeting with the same being later on, yes, there was a very prominent person that actually spoke to him.
Was it Henry Kissinger?
It very well could be from the description. That's as close as I'm going to get.
Wow. I'm reading these. I'm like, oh, come on. But yeah, okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. When we're talking about the Draco, we've seen a lot of artist representations and renderings, from you and others. But what do these beings actually look like? The skin texture, the eyes. Can you describe that for us?
They look like snakes. They look like reptiles. There's really no better way to sum it up. Their eyes, they'll be yellow with spots of other colors in them, including, red, vertical slits. Their skin, some of them have larger scales. Some of them have real tight scales like snakes do. And there are different types of reptilians.
Has any member of your family seen the blue orb that you travel in?
No.
Okay. And let's see. What does Corey think about Cobra's recent update about the end of artificial intelligence?
I actually have not heard it or looked at it. I have no idea what it entails. All I know is the artificial intelligence from my intelligence. The AI threat is going to be taken care of in this solar flash, like I reported some months ago.
Do you know anything about the Black Knight satellite?
Well, there have been a number of satellites that have been labeled the Black Knight. They've had satellites that have come into our solar system, orbited the Earth for a while and left, and then returned. They've had some that have changed position. Their orbit around the Earth, moved it to more of a polar orbit, geostationary polar orbit. That's much further away from the surface of the Earth. But there are a number of different non-terrestrial satellites that have come in and observed us over the years.
Last question before I get your statement. I was just told by Rita, she goes, your 10 minutes are up.
That's right.
Okay. If we have, this is from Dan, if we have an astral experience, are we of similar appearance in other dimensions to them of higher density?
I don't quite understand the question, but a lot of people, when it comes to densities and dimensions, they really have a hard time wrapping their minds around it. And higher density beings are, they're not invisible. We don't reach through them. They're not completely of a different frequency to where their matter does not interact with our matter. Just like we have first and second density beings on this planet, animals, viruses, worms, whatever.
Right.
We can physically interact with those. And it works the same as you go up the different levels of density. The higher density being basically has a higher vibratory consciousness state, and because they have this consciousness state, they're able to control matter, including the matter of their own bodies.
So they could pass through us, pass through walls. I know that's all science fiction, kind of a way of looking at it.
They use a consciousness type technology.
Right.
Most of these fourth density type groups do. It's a technology that's consciousness based, but yeah, if they were in the room with us, you're going to see them. You're going to be able to touch them. It's not some sort of where you're magically going to walk through each other and they're on a different frequency. That's not really how it works.
Well, here we are. December 1st is a couple of days away. We got 32 days left in the year. I cannot believe that 2016 has passed like it has. But here we are, and 2017 is right around the corner, Corey. What do you think about this year, and what do we have to look forward to next year, and what have you been told about both?
Well, I'm happy to see 2016 go. The election process was just, it was horrible. But, for the future, it is what we make of it. We are a collective consciousness that has forgotten that we're, one being. And the little fragmented pieces of this being that are our individual selves are co-creating our future together. And so, our future is up to us. It's what we want. If we put out into the universe that we want a positive experience, we're going to co-create that together.
I want to thank you, my brother. Thank you for everything. Thank you for coming forward and hanging out with us. You know how much we appreciate it here. And I want you and your family to be safe. And we'll be seeing you out there here very soon. And I can't wait to, hang out and break bread with you once again. Thank you so much, Corey.
Thank you.
Corey Goode, everybody. Thank you so much, Corey. And I'm serious. Oops, I just, why did I do that? I hit the wrong commercial 3 times in a row. I want to thank Corey, and you can follow him at Blue Avions. His website is Fear Being Alliance. Go follow, and his YouTube channel is there too as well, and he's always posting new stuff. And go check out the Mount Shasta Part 1 and 2. It is excellent. This is Fade to Black. Thank you, Corey Goode. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back after this short break. I'll open up the phone lines right after this. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black. you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. In a world of GMO, genetically modified organisms, that is, chemicals, processed foods, and a healthcare system that's unraveling like a cheap suit, it's time to prepare. God created herbs, and herbs help man. Our body can heal itself, just sometimes we need assistance. You need some help? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Our mild detox is quite powerful with its unique blend of 8 different herbs. And if you're looking for more, our non-GMO supplements will help you with different needs you might have. Health should be a top priority. Take care of your health naturally. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Give your body a treat. Let the herbs do their thing naturally. Read all the testimonies on the website, GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Sickness and viruses are like intruders, and herbs are like warriors. Let the tea work for you. That's GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Kletzky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station, where the Fade or Nots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Manson. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. Man, my brain hurts. That was an amazing conversation. Thank you, Corey. Didn't hold back, answered everything that I threw at him. Man. Great conversation. I'm going to open up the phone lines. I got a few minutes left before the end of the show. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Do so now. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Email is Jimmy@JimmyChurchRadio.com. You know what I forgot to ask Corey about the turkey UFO last night? I thought, man, okay, that's the way it goes. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. You're live right now.
Hello?
Yes, you're live.
Hi, I'm Carrie Guerin-Scoggins from Cleveland, Tennessee, and I wanted to ask Corey Goode if he knows that on YouTube of his channels, the reason I saved screenshots to prove this is not a wild conspiracy theory, that whenever I get on his sites and leave a message, I know that they're fake pages because when I go to my other YouTube channels, I see that those comments aren't there, but if I go back, they've not just been deleted because when I go back to the other channel still has them.
Right. It happens to Carrie. It happens to my channel, happens to everybody's channel. It's how you have the channel settings on the inside. So some people's comments appear on one side and don't appear on the other. I post comments all the time on my own channel that don't appear.
You don't think they're illegally using redirecting software?
No.
Well,
Unless
I started doing the redirecting software on my channel because I saw through an unusual link that they had an exact page up, exactly like mine, only the suggested videos were different than the ones that were supposed to be for the Carrie Guerin-Scoggins.
Right. I get that. And we have, I'm just telling you right now, there are probably 20 fake Fade to Black channels out there right now. And every time we have a management company that manages everything for us on YouTube, and they are constantly, and I mean daily, fighting fake Fade to Black channels. As soon as we get one pulled down, and we have direct contacts to YouTube, we have a YouTube representative there live. I can call on the phone right now and tell them what's going on. And as soon as it's pulled down, another one goes up. As soon as another one's pulled down, and they are so fast with it. And they turn around, they've got a Google Plus representation linking back, and as fast as we pull them down, they're pulled back up with our official artwork. Everything is there. They've got fake subscribers that pop up. The channel's pulled down, a new channel goes up, and they have 10,000 subscribers. Well, that's impossible, and it's created in one day. So we combat it constantly on a daily basis. So it's out there.
I saw that I had a lot of enemies that hated my End Times Prophecy news update, Carrie Guerin-Scoggins webcast. It is a religious right Republican, and actually I'm the person who coined the phrase Tea Party. So I understood that I had a lot of political and religious enemies with a badge, and I went to the Attorney General here in Cleveland, Tennessee, Stephen Crump, hoping that he will undo some of the fake pages on my behalf. I hate to have to file suit over it. There was a federal Supreme Court ruling.
Well, you can't do that, but because you're never going to be able to pull somebody in from Vietnam to go to court. The only thing that you can do is
go through Tennessee law enforcement doing it.
But they can't do anything from somebody in the Philippines. It doesn't work that way. So the only way
to who has the fake pages up for me. I don't know about Corey Goode, but concerning my own fake pages, I'm positive that it is Tennessee law enforcement. And again, there was a federal Supreme Court ruling saying that United States law enforcement can no longer use fake pages and redirecting software.
Come on, Carrie. You know better than that. They do it all day long. They do it all day long.
It is a federal Supreme Court ruling, we can file suit at least, even if we can't get them held to a higher standard like they're supposed to be.
Okay, but seriously, have you ever heard of Project Mockingbird?
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, there you go. There's all the fake pages all the fake websites, fake YouTube, that they do it all day long. And all the fake, think about that, Carrie. But listen, I got a ton of calls lined up here, so I want to thank you for calling in.
For Corey's response. Thank you.
You got it. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Maria. I'm calling from San Jose. Jimmy, I love your program, but I have a question regarding how everyone's talking about preparing and, getting food ready and prepping.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion on that? I have my food. I have the 2 weeks, 3 weeks kind of thing going. And I live in California, so, you have the earthquakes. And
right.
We've had a lot of them globally lately, if you've noticed, some big ones. How do you feel about it? Are you preparing? Do you have your stash somewhere?
Right.
Do you have a stash of coffee?
Yeah, exactly. And, this is the thing, is I have two takes on this. Number one, I don't want to scare people. I don't want to put the fear of anybody and have them go and no, I don't want to be part of that. But on the same token, and you're right, I live in Southern California. So just in case, it is a good idea to have in your garage 3, 4, 5 cases of water. They cost $1 each from Costco or whatever, right? Stock up on that and just have some stuff just in case. You know what? Forget about an earthquake. Forget about an alien invasion. What if you lose your job, right? And you get fired? It'd be a nice. Right. It's a good idea to have
I've been through 3 major earthquakes.
Yeah, me too.
Southern California, up Northern California, and the one in Central California. So I know what it's like.
And you weren't prepared any time, were you? Tell me the truth. You were not prepared.
To be honest with you, no, I wasn't.
Exactly.
I was pregnant.
Yeah, exactly. That's
during one of those times.
And that's the mentality of the people in Southern California. You have an earthquake, right? Everybody goes out and get the earthquake kits, and then they forget about it. And then something happens here in Southern California, whether it's fires or disaster or earthquake, and nobody's prepared. Nobody knows what to do. So yeah, absolutely. Am I prepared? I am semi-prepared. I'm semi-prepared.
I hope you have your coffee.
I've got
stuck somewhere.
There's one thing this house will never run out of is coffee. So, hey, Marie, thank you. Is it Marie or Maria?
It's Maria, but that was sweet. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for the
have
phone
a great
call.
Evening.
Yeah, you too. And you are absolutely right. Thank you for the phone call. Here in Southern California, man, it's so funny. After each one of the earthquakes, everybody went out and got these. I bet you there is nobody in Southern California that has an earthquake kit in their garage. They ate it a long time ago. All right, it's buried. If an earthquake hits, that earthquake kit is buried under so much garbage, right, that they wouldn't be able to get to it in the garage right now if something happened right now. Man, I'm spreading the bad vibes. We don't need an earthquake here in Southern California. What a great conversation tonight with Corey Goode. That was one for the books. I got to thank Corey for doing that. But I wanted to save a couple of things here for the end of the show. One of them is this. I just want to creep you guys out. Scientists performing biodiversity surveys in Ethiopia have come across an ant species that has all of the earmarks of becoming the apocalypse, the end, a global invader taking over your house, everything. Researchers from the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences spotted the species in the ancient forest in the northern part of Ethiopia. The ant, they say, is displaying signs of forming, check this, super colonies, rare things in the ant world, typified by colonies that move beyond a single nest, sometimes over thousands of miles of terrain. Super colony ants essentially expand their turf without constraints. They're a threat to everything. Structures, humans, crops, and other species and animals. That's right. True to that description, the worrisome ant has now moved out of the forest and into farmlands and is closing in on cities, urban areas, and roadways. That's right. Coming to a town near you. All right, let's see here. Oh, the big news of the day, of course. A group of researchers from the National Astronomical Observatory of Japan, the NAOJ, the University of Tokyo, and the Astrobiology Center, among others, has observed the transit of an Earth-like planet known as K23D using the Muscat instrument on the Okamaya Astronomical Observatory 188-centimeter telescope. K23D is important because there's a possibility that it may harbor extraterrestrial life. The temperature of its host star is lower than that of our sun, and calculations show that this is at the right distance for the planet to have a relatively warm climate like our Earth. There's a possibility that liquid water exists on its surface, and it's raising the possibility of ET life. By observing its transit, precisely during the next generation of telescopes, such as the 30-meter telescope, the TMT, scientists expect to be able to search the atmosphere of K23D for molecules related to life, such as oxygen. That is the big news of the day. This has been Fade to Black. I want to thank Corey Goode. Hung in there, man. Yeah, you could tell he was toast. I did. I pummeled him with questions, but I came prepared, man. I just wanted to go where nobody else has gone before. And I got to thank Corey Goode for doing it tonight. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark T. Covray.